Hey guys, how's it going? It's boy MKS here, back with another video. This one, a more political one. I know I've probably talked about politics or my views a little bit before, like being a libertarian and stuff like that. But I was thinking of doing this before, but I didn't quite get around to it. But I think it was a couple of days ago now. So she's been the new Prime Minister for about 3 or 4 days, I think. I can't quite remember. But today's date being the 9th of September. Anywho, I hope you're doing well wherever you are, as I say, and I'd love to hear what you think. When I saw a lot of these Truss speeches, I thought, I don't really like this woman. Part of me thought, I can't really stand her. I think she's a bit annoying, like some of her facial expressions, but people probably say the same about me. But in a way, I think when you look at her speech, like people mocked her speech when she said we import so much of our cheese and this sort of thing. But I sort of see where she's coming from, all the way she said it, and she probably was overreacting, or that's the word, overreactionary or whatever. But I think what she was saying kind of made sense in a way. If you import so much, if a country imports or spends more on its imports, especially than it does on its exports, on how much it gets taken in, how much it takes in, it's probably going to do worse off. So I kind of get what she was saying, and I think because of her facial expression, she like pulled a really angry face, and the way she said it, probably people mock her for that. But in a way, I kind of get what she said, and I heard her speech, and from what I've seen of it, which I didn't see the whole speech, but what I think sometimes I don't have the best attention span anyway, and sometimes political speeches can get, as any speech, can probably get boring after a while. Including, I bet my own videos can as well, unfortunately. But anyway, I'll try not to bore you. But yeah, so I think I'd give her speech an 8 out of 10, actually, even though I was someone who's a bit of a critic of her before, because she talked about getting Britain working. I'm not that patriotic, but I thought these things, any country would be sensible to say we want to get the country working. I suppose it is just like sound bites, just sound good for now. In there, she puts them into action. But I suppose time will tell whether she'll do a good job or not. I imagine she's quite right-wing, so I imagine socialists and communists will not be very happy with her appointment. But I suppose she might argue if you create jobs, then you don't need as much a welfare state or benefits or things like that. But although the idea of a job to me is quite scary, so I hope my YouTube channel will kick off so I can earn money, earn a living off that, and then help charities. Anyway, I forgot to say at the start of my video, it's a very cloudy day here from the UK. I was going to say I'm coming at you with in a cloud. Can't speak properly. It's coming at you from a very cloudy UK. So I was going to say something like that. Anyway, words to that effect, but I forgot to say it. But yeah, I am hoping and praying, God willing and Godspeed, the weather will be better here where I am. And around the world as well, I suppose, especially people suffering around the world from a less selfish point of view. But yeah, so I'm not sure what to say too much about Liz Truss. Most politicians, I probably half jokingly say, or part jokingly say, I probably trust them as much as I could throw them. But I think she's certainly said some good things, and being a libertarian, a bit more right-wing myself, even though I'm a door-weller, you wouldn't think I'd be a libertarian, but I don't like to take people's freedom away. So I think her being a fiscally conservative, sort of more libertarian-leaning politician, although I must admit I did want Rishi Sunak to be, just because he's got the same name as my cousin and my second cousin or nephew, whatever it's called. But yeah, I suppose time will tell whether she'll do a good job. Incidentally, it's actually the third female Prime Minister of the UK, of course, for anyone who doesn't know. We had obviously Margaret Thatcher, then we had a controversial but polarizing character, Margaret Thatcher, and another one, which is, I suppose any conservative leader would be in this country, which is not as right-wing as, say, America. But even in America, conservative politicians will probably be controversial in some way. In such a big country, like any politician is probably going to be controversial in their own way. But we had obviously Margaret Thatcher, and we had Theresa Maybot, as we call her, some people, because she was a bit wooden, as they say. But yeah, yeah. So this is the third female Prime Minister, and also actually, strangely enough, from the Conservative Party, which seemed to be a bit more male-centric, perhaps. But she, as I say, it's funny that all three. It's a strange sort of thing that all three of our prime ministers that have been female have come from the Conservative Party for some reason, which is a bit strange. But perhaps. But as one politician quipped, some of these jokes they have probably worse than mine, even if that's possible. But they quipped that Labour has failed to have a female leader, or even a leader from outside North London, apparently, something like that. But anyway, yeah. So probably waffling again, but. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, but I forgot. But yeah, so time will tell how she does. As I say, I'm a bit more libertarian, so I like her libertarian ways, like keep the government out of businesses as much as possible and things like that, and have as few rules as possible. Although some of her facial expressions or the way she spoke or the way she says things, I find a little bit annoying, but I suppose give her a chance. But I'm not that patriotic anyway, but I do think it'd be great for every country to have as much freedom as possible, I suppose. Again, I'd love to hear what you think. Obviously, if you're a socialist or a communist, you're probably not going to be very happy with this appointment. If you're left-leaning, you probably won't be happy with any Conservative leader. As one of the union boss, as Mick Lynch, the union boss, said, one of the union bosses, obviously of one union, the RMT or whatever, said that either way, we're going to have a right-wing government. We're going to have one of the most right-wing governments because Rishi Sunak was quite right-wing. And Liz Truss is even more right-wing. As I say, I don't trust any politician as far as I can throw them, probably. My favourite politician is probably Matt Hancock, who's a fellow dyslexic as well. I don't know why. There's something about him that I find it pretty cool. I don't know why I like the way he talks for some reason. I know not everyone likes him, but because he's a Conservative as well and all that sort of thing. But I know he was caught having an affair. That's very naughty. But I still like him for some reason. I don't know why, but that was even before I found out he was dyslexic. When I found out he was dyslexic, I liked him even more. So maybe there's a sixth sense sort of connection where there's. I just think he's quite an honest guy as well, even though some people don't like Conservatives, but I think he is probably quite honest. Maybe I'm being naive, but again, I'd love to hear what you think. I'm sure there were some points I was going to cover, but I forgot. Again, time will tell whether Liz Truss will become a good leader. I think I've remembered what I was going to say, which is the UK still wants to have a person of colour, either male or female, as a leader. So even America has beaten us to that, even though they're more right-wing and arguably more racist than the UK overall. They've had a person of colour, mixed race guy. But there hasn't been a female of colour as a leader of any Western country, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think about, if I dare ask what you think about females as leaders of countries. Again, I often say free speech, freedom of expression, or whatever, so please feel free to comment whatever you want. There's something on that note which I was going to say, which I'm thinking of. When you make a YouTube video, at the bottom, if you look, I didn't notice this before, but YouTube seems to be censoring things a little bit, if I'm honest, and they say you can hold inappropriate comments for review, or you can even get rid of comments completely or things like that. And I never like to do that. I always try and tick the box if I remember. As soon as I notice, I always try and tick the box which says allow for all comments. But I'd love to know what you think and what countries have female leaders. I'd love to know what those. I think Rwanda actually leads the way and actually has more females in politics than more women in politics, if you like, than many Western countries, which would probably surprise people. Considering a lot of people probably think the East is backwards and doesn't have women's rights and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think about women's rights and as well female leaders. Are they any different to male leaders, or should they be classified as the same? Should they be given more opportunities and that sort of thing? And what countries have female leaders? I think Finland does. But anyway, and also about people of colour as leaders. Has any Western country ever had a person of colour, let alone a female of colour, as a leader? Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling and I'm out. Peace and out.